In this video, we're going to talk about layers and what layers do. So let's explain what layers are. We're going to start with adjustment layers. What are adjustment layers? Well, they're just what they say they are. When you go in, you can add a layer to over top of your image so that you can adjust the image, adjust the look of the image without affecting the image itself. Now, this is an adjustment layers for level. If you notice, I can turn it on, I can turn it off, and it adjusts what is below it. It adjusts the color, it adjusts whatever you select from this icon here. These are your adjustment layers. So if I wanted to go in and desaturate this image, I would desaturate, and this is the adjustment layer for desaturate. This is for my levels. Now, the benefits of using an adjustment layer over doing it other ways, such as going in and using adjustments over here, is that this can be removed and this can be added just by clicking on it. So that's the benefits of adjustment layer. But what's the other layers? What do they do and how do they work? Well, it's pretty simple. A layer, if you click here, you create a new layer, is pretty much a piece of glass or a piece of acetate laid over top of the image. Now, that's going back to the analog days of when we were drawing and retouching. But that's what a layer is. It's just something laid over top of the image that you can do work on that doesn't affect the picture below it. So here, I have a layer. I've created this layer right here, layer 1, and when I shut it off, what I just did disappears. When I turn it on, it comes back. That's all there is to layers. That's what a layer is. Now, there's different types of layers. We're not going to get into that in this video. We're going to talk about basic layers, but we're going to see how it will work. So we're going to get rid of this layer, and you do that just by dragging it down to the trash can and letting go. We're going to keep this adjustment layers that we've got here, and we also have under layers, we have this ability here to create what's called a group. And a group is taking your layers and putting them in a group so that when you turn the group off or you turn the group on, it applies those things. And we can even name it. So we're going to call this color because it's our color, it's our density. When it's on, it's fixed. When it's off, it's as it was originally. But let's say you wanted to do some work on this picture, but you didn't want to destroy the picture. What can you do? Well, there's a couple things that you can do. First of all, if you go to your background layer, click on it, drag it down to where it says create a new layer and let go, it will make a duplicate background layer. With this background layer, you can do stuff that you couldn't do with the other layer. You can move it around, you can work on it, you can do a whole bunch of different stuff with it. You can turn it off, you can turn it on, you can get rid of it. Why is this beneficial? Well, here's a perfect example. We're going to create a background copy here. We're going to zoom in and we're going to see some of the scratches on this picture. Now, I've got it clicked on the background copy. I'm going to go in here, filter. I'm going to go down until I find noise. I'm going to go to dust and scratches. I'm going to tell it to fix the dust and scratches. Now, if you notice, and I'll just turn this preview off and then on again, it went through and it fixed all the dust and scratches that was on this image. I'm going to click on OK, except for this one. Now, if I turn it off, if I turn it back on again, you're going to see that it has been fixed, or some of the image has been fixed. But it didn't affect the original image. So if it didn't work exactly right, I can go and erase the areas where it didn't work right. Now, for this image, it looks pretty good the way it is. So I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to leave it like that. And we're going to continue on repairing this image from this point. So I'm going to go up here to my color. I'm going to click so that I create a layer above the color because I don't want to work underneath it. You want to work on top all the time. Your next layer should always be on top of what was before it. And I'm going to start fixing this image. So really quickly, I'm going to go in here. I'm going to click and I'm going to fix this. So there we are. I'm going to fix this because that looks goofy. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to fix this little mark up there. I'm going to drag over my layers here. I can see a water stain here. We're going to go ahead and quickly fix this. Now, this is just really quick. This is just really dirty. This is just showing you all so I don't take hours and hours to do it. But there, I've done some work. Now, I can go and click this off and click it on again to see what the work that I've done looks like. Now you notice I didn't go very close to this roof. There's a reason for that. I'm going to create another layer. And then I'm going to go closer to this roof and start doing work on the roof. And I'm deliberately going to go in here and I'm going to go in and I'm going to mess up. So I'm going to fix this just like that. Well, now obviously you can see that I've messed this up. Benefit of this being a layer is I can shut it off. I can even get rid of it if I want to by dragging it down here, but we don't want to for this one. But I can also go in and I can move the layer. And I can adjust the layer. I can move the layer over and line it up because it's on its own separate layer. And it doesn't affect anything else in the picture, only this layer. I can go back in. I can continue my work on here. I can get this. I can get this. I can go over here. And all I'm changing is what's on this layer. I can turn this layer off and there it comes back again. So if I mess up, I can easily go back. Now, when you're working in layers, always make sure that you go in and save as Photoshop format. Because if you do that and you hit save, I'm not going to do it right now, but if you hit save, it will allow you to open this up and keep the layers all intact. Now, if you see I got layer 1, you see I got layer 2, but what the heck do these mean? Well, my first layer is the sky. So I'm going to go in here, and if you double click on it, I can just type in sky. Whoops. Let's try typing it correctly. Sky. There we are there. This I can double click on, and I can call it house. So I know what each one of these is by how I've named it. Now, again, like the color that I've got down here, I can also create a group. And I can go in, I can drag my layers into the group. And the cool thing is now when I click on the group, it turns everything that I've done off and on again. If I want to, I can even drag my color into the group. And now when I click on it, it shuts everything off to the way it was when I first opened the picture, and then it turns it back on again. Why is this important? Because when you're doing retouching, sometimes you'll retouch something and it'll look good when you're zoomed in, may even look good when you're zoomed out. But if you click on this little highlight to turn on the eye, to turn off the eye, to be able to see the visibility of the layers below it, you can tell if you've done anything wrong. And in this, it actually looks pretty good. So we can continue on our work here if we wanted to, and we can continue working. But that's what layers does. That's what a layers allow you to do when you're doing restoration work. Now, there's a lot more that they can do, and we're going to touch on that later on as we go through editing and showing other things. But that's what your layers will do, and that's what will save you a lot of time and issues when you're doing restorations.